You know what they say, old habits die hard. But in this case, I'm hoping the old habits don't die at all. Let's get to it. Welcome back, y'all, to the DeAndre Way. Thank you for joining me on this special episode where we will be divulging into the challenge season 40. Let's get it. Now, I've been a challenge watcher for a long time. I started watching the challenge on the fresh meat. That was my first one I really watched full beginning to end. And then I got attached to it with the competition, the politics, the relationships, the drama, everything. And that's where I found the first true competitors that I liked with Darrell, Aviv, DM, Derek, Kenny, Coral, etc. Like those are my OGs. And then I did my homework and watched some older seasons, and then I watched the seasons that came. I took a little break when I was in college and whatnot about watching a few seasons just because I had other things to worry about. But the show got a little stale for me just because it was the same people winning again and again and again. But now it is time for the epic season 40 where we bring the whole kombucha family together of all the different flavors, of all the different timelines under one roof and see what goes down. And we gonna go through this launch special that just aired last night. I was trying to get to it last night, but I had to catch the episode of Big Brother because it was a good one. But we will divulge into the challenge Battle of the Eras launch special. So this was a week before the season premiere starts next week, and it's a two-part season premiere. I will say the poster's dope, of course. Everyone did their little reviews early, but I'm gonna do mine now to give y'all the real take of what's really going down. So we gonna get into this launch special, y'all. It was a good one. I liked it because they brought a lot of nostalgia back and they kept things fresh, I think. But we get into it from the very well. Before we get into it, real quick, we're just gonna get into it. Everybody's at this party. They got a big party. They flew the cast out. Now, usually they don't have this kind of meet and greet. We gonna chill out, have a party because you can't just fly these challenges out and then send people home the first day when it's the 40th season. You gotta wine and dine them a little bit, get them excited, especially the OGs. They paved the way, they deserved it. So I like that they did this for the cast. That was a good touch, MTV. That was a good touch. And they look like they put some money into this, way more than season 39. But I digress. We gonna try and forget about that season for the most part. But yeah, they're in like a bar. I don't even know what kind of place they're in, but they're having a party. And of course, the first thing we hear is Mr. Johnny Bananas talking about how they don't make them like they used to anymore. Now, look, I listen to Johnny's podcast. It's a good podcast. But Johnny loves to hear himself talk, and he loves to be repetitive on the statements and saying, oh, the olden days were so much better. The olden days were this. The olden days are that. Johnny, we get it. You like the older days a lot. We understand. Those were your glory days. Were you able to run people over like a bulldozer and use your crew to manipulate, defile, talk crazy to folk and get your way or the highway? So we get it. You like the olden days. He hates the new era people. We get it. Repetitive point that I've heard way too many times and I'm over it. But we get introduced. Well, the casual audience get introduced to CT first. So CT started in season 8, long, 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 long time ago. And we'll get into the seasons which each cast member started in eventually, but in depth. But season 8 was the Inferno. So the Inferno was CT's first season. CT did great on that season. I believe he made the finals. CT makes the finals almost every season he does. And he's one of the people to beat. He won Traders recently. He won the last 2 challenge flagship seasons he was on. He won his elimination, I believe, on season 39. So he's been winning a lot lately. And he's the guy you kind of don't want to see at the end. So CT knows what time it is. He knows he got a target in his back. But this is the first time CT is playing with his OGs. The only OG CT really plays with that is in his era is Darrell, as of late. Everyone else has been younger than him, so he can't really use his brain, his not his brain, his tactics of delusion to get over on everybody else. So he gonna have to work a little extra hard to really get one over on his own teammates if that's what he's gonna end up trying to do. We'll see. But me knowing CT, he'll figure out a way. But I don't know. That trailer for the season, it had me kind of nervous. I saw CT on a stretcher, so I don't know if he getting medically DQ'd or not. But CT, let's keep our fingers crossed for the brother. Now I like CT. I like CT. And then we see Katie talking about her getting in fights, and they give her a montage of her going at it with Veronica. Now, Katie, I like Katie. Katie gets down with the business. She ain't one to punk out, and she's gonna stand her ground 10 toes. But Katie says she's since matured. She ain't gonna get into it like that no more. And we respect that, Katie. We love to see growth, but we want to see a little bit of what you got, Katie. Please, please. And excuse my voice, y'all. I'm a little hoarse right now. But Katie, we love that you matured. You got a beautiful family. But we want to see that dog come out in you, Katie. We want to see that dog come out. And I hope we get a little bit of that. Just cuss one person out, please. Just one person. I don't care who it is. Just one person. And she's talking about that with Horacio. Two completely different eras. And that's the coolest part to see is this is kind of like a whole kind of reunion of all the old high school classes. You got the class in 1990, 2000, 2010, 2020. And they're all talking. It's interesting to see them interact. And with Katie, I would never think I would see Katie Cooley interact, if that's her new last name, Katie Doyle / Cooley interact with Horacio. I never thought I would see that on my screens, but it's really dope to see. It's really dope to kind of see the evolution, how far things have come. And maybe you can picture, because Katie still look good. Katie still looks good, and wondering like, oh, would she maybe have gone for him in the past? Maybe she would have, maybe they could have been a thing if they were on the same timeline. Who knows? But Katie, shout out Katie. We love Katie. And we get introduced to Era 1 and then a flashback of all of them. So we'll get into Era 1 real quick, y'all. We will jump into it. So this is Era 1. Sorry, the picture is terrible. But we have Brad Forienza, Jody Weatherton, Anissa Ferreira, Rachel Robinson, Darrell Taylor, C.T. Tamburello, Derek Kazanowski, Katie Cooley, Mark Long, and Tina. We just got Tina. I don't know Tina's last name, y'all. I'm sorry. Tina, let me not disrespect Tina. Tina Barta. Tina Barta. And so we will go through which each of these cast members this season they started, just to give you a little backdrop. So Brad started on Battle of the Sexes 2. Jody started on... Which season did she start on? She started on The Inferno 2. Anissa started on Battle of the Sexes, so she's really been on for a while. Rachel started on season Battle of the Sexes as well. Darrell started on season The Gauntlet. Mark Long started on season Real World versus Road Rules. That's he's the oldest cast member on the team and the oldest cast member on the whole. He's been doing the challenge. I think that was the season 4, I believe. So 4 or 5, or 3, 3, 4, 5. Katie started on season The Gauntlet. Derek started on, I believe it was Fresh Meat, if I know off the top of my head. Battle of the Sexes 2, sorry. Derek started on season Battle of the Sexes 2. Tina started on The Gauntlet as well. And CT started on the same season as Darrell, The Inferno. So they all have a lot of history together. They all have a lot of time well spent, and we know they've all worked together or against each other in the past, but we haven't seen all these people on together in a very, very, very long time. Those are the heyday people of yesteryear. They started it all. That's when the games were new, fresh, exciting, not too many twists, carnival games, etc. They're actually the underdogs in this because they're so much older and they don't have as strong of a team. Now, on paper, yes, their numbers exceed everyone, but in reality, they're a lot older. They're a little bit more fragile. They don't have as much pivoting prowess when it comes to the politics and as much influence as they you would think. So I think this team's gonna have a real rough go at it. I think Rachel, Darrell, Mark, uh, I'll say Derek, and that's about it. Those are my like, and CT are my high hopes for the team. I don't think the women's side is super strong on that team just because Tina's quality, Katie, Rachel very good, Anissa, it's just gonna be tough for this team. So I see teams throwing them in because it's gonna be an easy win they think, but we'll see what goes down with them. Anywho, we continue. We get some missed OGs like Coral. We get her iconic line. She'll go home in a gurney, or I'll go home in handcuffs. That line is classic. Classic. Coral got the best lines. Coral should have been on this season, but she ain't. She's done with the challenge. She ain't never coming back, I don't think. Maybe in All Stars, but who knows? We miss Coral. I wish Coral could have been one of the hosts too. I like Davon and Devin, but Coral definitely should have showed up. Like I wish they would have. I hope the season they flew out some of the older cast members to make like a special host appearance or something. Like that would be lit. They need to really. They got to pay more homage to the peoples, man. I mean, I know if people don't want to do the show, they don't want to do the show. They don't want to be involved in any kind of capacity, but the showrunners and the show people got to make them feel like they are really needed, not wanted, but needed. You ever have it where people invite you to go out and you don't know if you really want to go because you don't know if if the group really wants you there. Well, if somebody says, "Oh, we really need you here," like it would be amazing to have you, and you feel like you're needed. That's what they need to make the older generation feel like more so. I feel like they don't do that even on All Stars. They're like, okay, you want to come? Oh, you can't? Okay, whatever. No, bribe them with more money. Show them the appreciation because this is for the fans. This show wouldn't be anywhere it is season 40 without the fans. This might be the last season. Who knows? But in recent years, they just seem like they don't care what the fans say. They're going to do what they want to do and how they want to do it. So I hope we get to see a cameo Coral this season because we've seen a lot of her on this first. We've seen more of her on this first episode than we did of Eve. Come on now. So shout out Coral. And yes, we get so yes, season one is or era one is the real world road rules the challenge through Inferno 2, season 1 through 10. And we get Davon and Devin hosting it. So they got like microphones and whatnot. They're going around, but we don't know exactly what they're doing. I don't know if we're gonna get some BTS or some special clips from the challenge Instagram page or the challenge if they're gonna be there the whole season doing the podcast live. I don't know. I've never seen them fly two extra podcast hosts out for a challenge season or any kind of thing like this before. So did they just fly them out for a couple days and say, "Hey, just be here for show appearances and make it seem real epic," and then okay, whoosh, we're gonna whisk y'all home? I don't know. But I hope we get to see the full interviews because I know they did more than just ask those general questions, one, two general questions to the whole cast. I know they did. So release the footage. Challenge. Release the footage because I know you like to hide the footage. Stop hiding it from us. We deserve it. We see a Brad and Nehemiah rekindling. So Brad and Nehemiah were on the recent season of Challenge All Stars season 4. Nehemiah was not on this last season. Brad was on it, but Nehemiah was. They were on Challenge All Stars season 3. They were kind of on opposite ends. Um, they weren't working together. I believe Nehemiah beat Brad. I believe I can't remember, but I know Nehemiah made it to the final, and Brad did not. And this is Brad times to reinvent himself. He needs to shave the beard once again, as we said on All Stars 4. But he just needs to shave the beard. Shave the beard, Brad. I think it'll be good for you. He saw the old picture of himself giving himself a wedgie. I think that was when he was doing well. He was winning and seemed confident, and now he just seems like a shell of himself. I think it's the beard. You trying to hide yourself. I have a little thing like if you have a lot of facial hair, not to saying you don't want it, but if you got a beard like that, you're hiding something. I don't know if you got acne. I don't know if you don't like the way you look. I don't know what it is, but sometimes that can be a mask to make us seem like we're invisible and really mask ourselves. So I think he needs to shave the beard. Shout out Nehemiah. I'm glad he got the the okay on this show. I think one of the cast, Era 2, is the weakest form of men. We'll get there in a sec. But yeah, I definitely think I'm glad to see Nehemiah on here. And we see Emily. So Emily's in Era 2. And we will get into Era 2 right now, actually. So this is Era 2. We have Nehemiah, Ryan. I ain't got all their last names. Nehemiah, Ryan, Emily, Aviv, Johnny, Bananas, Brandon, Nelson, Cara Maria, uh, Derek, Laurel, Kellyanne, and Kellyanne. And so with this group, we will go through their original seasons. So Nehemiah, one second, y'all. I'm having technical difficulties. All right. Nehemiah. So Nehemiah started on season The Duel. I gotta stop saying that. Season The Duel. Nehemiah started on The Duel. Ryan started on Fresh Meats. I know that. I didn't even gotta look at that because that was the first season I watched. So I know what season Ryan started on. Ryan started on Fresh Meat. We have Aviv. She started on Fresh Meat. Johnny Bananas started on The Duel. Brandon started on Fresh Meat 2. Cara Maria started on Fresh Meat 2. Derek started on Cutthroat. So that was the last season of the era. Emily started on Cutthroat as well. Kellyanne started on The Island. Horrible season. Laurel started on Fresh Meat 2. And yeah, that's everyone. So a lot of these cast members started on the same season. So, I mean, Ryan and Aviv started on the same season. Nehemiah and Bananas started on the same season. Brandon, Cara Maria, and Laurel started on the same season. And Emily and Derek started on the same season. Uh, Era 2 is probably the weakest one in regards to the men. I mean, we have a lot of cast members that technically should have filled the space, like Wes, Kenny, Evan, which they're bands. Um, I'm missing some others even, but yeah, Era 2, you know, they're missing a lot of their real heavy hitters. And if we were able to see some of those people, then whew, this would have been really off the chain. And people get banned for a reason and whatnot, and they do certain things. But I think this is an unpopular opinion. I think they should be allowed back. Don't kill me for it. Don't kill me for it. Don't kill me for it. I just would be interested to see how the dynamic is nowadays. That's just what I want to see. I just want to see it or something. I feel like this is a fandom we're dejected from a lot just because of some of the things that people did. Now, look, people done some things that are hard to forgive, but we got to have it in our hearts to learn to forgive people, especially as time passes, and we can't hold grudges forever, especially if they're being remorseful. If they're not being remorseful and they don't seem like apologetic, then forget it. But I'm sure if they were allowed to speak on the topic and whatnot, they would, we gotta allow people to make mistakes and learn from them instead of crucifying them for that one mistake for life. That's just me. Yes, but season 2 is the Gauntlet 2. Era 2 is the Gauntlet 2 through Cutthroat. Um, and Aviv didn't tell Darrell she was coming. So Aviv is one of my favorite cast members of all time. She was on the first season I watched. She was a girl that came through, delivered, strong, smart, got my man Darrell his 4th win in a row. So shout out Aviv. I'm definitely excited to see her and how she kind of fits in because a lot of people pretty much don't even know who she is in Era 3 and 4. They might be a little bit familiar, but they really don't know, especially Era 4. I know they don't know who she is. And we see this. I didn't want to talk about this too much. We see the tall tale signs and the reminiscence and the birth again, as you will, of the Laurel and Carl story. I don't want this to be a whole thing. I know there was scenes in the previews of Laurel yelling at Carl and Carl crying. Please, can we not make this like a regular thing? Please. I can't deal with a whole nother season of this. I mean, the All-Stars was enough. I need one of them to get eliminated early, preferably Laurel, because I just can't deal with this whole weird relationship that they got. I'm glad Nicole's not here, but please, Can we not have to deal with the Laurel and Kara storyline again? It's old and tired. I don't know what the deal is, but Kara, let her go. She ain't good for you. Kara, let her go. Who needs enemies when you got friends like that? Let her go. Brad says Kara's playing victim. Brad, I don't. Look, there's responsibility on both sides. Kara, it's kind of your fault for allowing this to move to evolutionize and keep going for all these years. You should have dropped her off on the side of the street a long time ago. Laurel, stop gaslighting Kara and trying to make her seem like you're her friend, but you're really just her op. So it's on both parties, I believe. If you're being treated bad by somebody, you got to let them go. And if you continue to let them in your life and allow them to treat you bad, then that's your fault. So there is responsibility on Kara's side. And it might look like she'd be playing victim because it could look like from the outside, oh, Kara, why would you still be friends with her? But so now you're just playing victim and want sympathy because when she's mean to you. So I can see what Brad is saying. I'm not entirely against that. But yeah, Kara does kind of bring this upon herself of being friends with her. Now that I say it, I'm talking myself into being on Brad's side. I was maybe Brad got a point. Kara, let her go. If you don't let her go after this, you should have been let her go. Kara, ain't no excuse. I'm sorry, Kara. I can't be on your side on this one. You should have been let her go after All Stars 4, before that even. So that's on you. People tried to tell you. That's all we got to say about that. Paulie. So Paulie, I like Paulie. Paulie is lit, man. Paulie, great to meet him. Hopefully, I get to meet him one day. His fashion sense is evolutionizing. You know, he's I don't know what he was wearing per se in his myth, but Paulie, he's a very eccentric dresser now, and he also repeats that Laurel ain't good for Kara and she needs to drop her off in the corner, but Kara ain't listening for some reason. It's harder for women to let their emotions go with certain things, especially people that might have had a profound impact on them at a certain period of time, you know? But she still needs to drop her off in the corner. But yeah, Paulie, these clothing choices, he's really, he's coming into his own. He's coming into his own, and we'll see what that own is. But shout out Paulie. He seems like a good dude. And then we get to see Janae. Now, Janae has one of the more interesting stories in challenge history. She started off not the best competitor. She wasn't a bad competitor. She just wasn't having the best results on the challenge. Bad teammates. Paired up with Zach, her ex. Bad toxic relationship. Paired up with Jasmine. Not the greatest duo, just because of their stature. Didn't have much success. I think she was paired up with 92. Bad partnership. But then she took a long break and went on All Stars 2 and 3 and won both of those back to back. Like Drake said, you know? We going back to back. But then she got ousted in the Challenge USA Season 2. She got ousted last season, Challenge 38. Challenge All Stars? Challenge All Stars. Challenge All Stars is Season 38. Challenge All Stars. I'm mixing them up, y'all. Challenge All Stars Season 4, I believe. Or Challenge 38. But she got ousted. She's been having the short end of the stick quite a bit lately. She wasn't on either of those seasons. No, she wasn't on either of those seasons. I'm tripping. Janae, she got ousted on season USA Season 2. I know that pretty quickly. And, no, her partner. Look, Janae, she won her 2 seasons. I'm rambling right now. She won her 2 seasons. She's trying to prove that those weren't a fluke. So shout out Janae. We love Janae. And I hope she proves her worth and shows her team, like, look, the one you saw originally that came out on these shows is not the same one that you see in today. So I think she needs to cut her hair a little bit. It's a little long, and I think that's going to mess with her a little bit. But the hair's a little long. Braid it something, Janae. We gotta clean it up a little bit. It's just, I don't want you to mess up because of your hair. But then we get to Tony. Tony time. Tony Reigns. This was one of the last Real World seasons I watched. Real World Skeletons. He says he's in the best shape of his life. Says he's Tony time. It's ready to go, and I'm ready to get that championship belt finally. Tony always says he's in the best shape of his life. I feel like he said that on the last season of All Stars, but he had to go home because of something that went down. We don't know. We weren't given a real explanation. Some family matters. But this time he's back, so we'll see if he can actually show what he's got, because he has this beef with Corey still from this pasta gate on Final Reckoning, where Corey tripped him up and almost busted his head wide open on the concrete because Tony threw Corey's pasta out the window. Now, look, I'm not for somebody grabbing your belongings and throwing them out the window. I'd be pissed too. But you can't sacrifice $1 million, which it was that season, over some pasta. You can buy some new pasta, Corey. Don't do nothing stupid this time. Please, brother. You've been second place so many times, but I lost track. It's time. Now or never. Now or never, Corey. And with that, we going to get into era 3 right here. So, with era 3, we have Amanda, Avery, Corey, Devin, Janae, Jordan, Leroy, Nia, Tony, and Tori. Amanda started out on Rivals 3. Avery started out on Battle of the Exes 2. Corey started out on Battle of the Bloodlines. Devin started out on Rivals 3. Janae started out on Rivals. Jordan started out on Rivals 2. Leroy started out on Rivals. Nia started out on Free Agents. Tony started out on Battle of the Bloodlines. And Tori started on Dirty 30. So Tori was one of the latest ones in there, and Leroy was one of the earliest ones in there. So it seems like some of these, like, if you're on era in any of the eras, if you are saying started on season 1 and then you're on the same team as somebody who started in season 10, it can seem like a big difference, especially like season 30 and 39. That can seem like that's a big difference as well. So this is an interesting team. This is a very interesting team. We got some strong people on here for sure, but we also have some weak people on here. Like, Avery and Amanda, they're not even the strongest. I mean, I'm including Devin's smart. So he won. I'll put some respect on his name. Leroy hasn't won. A lot of non-champions. Amanda hasn't won. Avery hasn't won. Corey hasn't won. Janae has. Amanda, Avery, Corey, Leroy, Nia, Tony, all haven't won. I believe this is the team. Well, besides Era 4, but Era 4 has a decent amount of winners in it in itself. And I'll count other shows too. Yeah, there's a lot of people still need to prove themselves in this group, to be honest with you. I mean, they've done what they've done, and they've made it all finals and whatnot, and I don't even know if Avery's made a final, though, has she? Avery might be the only one on the team that hasn't made a final. She shouldn't be here. I don't know how she made the cast. No shade, but yeah, Avery, I don't know what she's doing here, but this team has a lot to prove. There's a lot of kind of dysfunction with the whole Jordan and Tori storyline, which I hope we do not get. I'm over it. Please don't give it to us. As well as, the redemption stories with Janae and then Leroy not retiring and coming out again. And Nia, they showed her with her vape pens. Don't anti-vape. Don't vape, y'all. I'm very highly spoken about not vaping, and she reiterates that. And then the Amanda storyline with her and Tori. Very dysfunctional team, if you ask me. Very dysfunctional. Don't see this team working very well together, but who knows? They might pull it together. They have the strongest guy, I think, in the whole show in Jordan, but also have the weakest girl in Avery in the whole show. Maybe not the weakest girl in the whole show, but it evolves to like vocal and physical combined. I think Avery's the weakest. So we'll see. We'll see how they put it together. And these seasons went from Rivals to Dirty 30, as we stated. So Leroy gets a message from Cam. He's getting his special treatment again. Look, I don't know what Leroy did or said to the producers and whatnot when he came out with that statement, but he's been getting preferential treatment on these challenges for the last few seasons now. I mean, Double Agents, he did really well in. All Stars 4, he got really good treatment, and he made it to the finals. Didn't win, though. And this season, before the season starts, he gets a message from Cam and his 2 babies. Shout out the babies and the healthy delivery of the baby with Cam and whatnot. We love to see that. And it was funny because when I was watching this, I know Cam and Davon have a weird relationship. So it was just interesting, and I want to know if they communicated at all. I know Cam doesn't have the best relationship with a lot of these people just because she calls herself Killer Cam and whatnot, and they might think she has an ego. And was Leroy the only one to get a personalized special message from home, or did everybody get a personalized special message from home? I want to know. I want to know. It's just interesting to see because that could put a target on his back. They're giving this brother this special treatment, and we know how that goes down. They don't like to see that. They don't like to see it. So I hope he's gonna be all right. But Naya says she's going to Polyddick. Yeah, she going to find some politicking to get down on to save herself because she says she's not the strongest competitor. Now Naya's tall as a tree. She's taller than Laurel, and Laurel's tall as hell. So Naya, I don't know if you have to resort to that, but in order to make some friends, I mean, look, you got to do what you got to do. I was just talking to my friend on the phone about this said topic. You got to get down to get down, but I hope she just finds the right one and doesn't end up with a dud. And that that person she finds can carry her over. So she has her game plan. Now I like that. I like a woman who she a sister who got her game plan down and she's gonna find a way to execute that. That's good. Now I just hope she makes it through without the vaping. Uh, I don't want to call it cardiac arrest. She said like chest problems or breathing problems or something like that. So I hope she just makes it through all right in one piece. Now, shout out Naya. We don't get the crazy uh, beat your head in Naya, and she's on a team with Avery. I forgot Naya and Avery. They got in a big fight on their Rival season. Now, since they have since made up, but yeah, we'll see what kind of version of Naya we get. We don't know. She's a wild card. And so Ryan says the new people have become characters of themselves, and the screen pans to Josh when he says this. Now look. I actually got to I saw Josh last a couple weeks ago at the Big Brother premiere. Nice guy, big dude, nice guy. I know what he means by people being caricatures of themselves and putting on a show. I really do believe like Josh is just kind of how he is on TV. I don't believe he's being a fake person per se. Now he is over exaggerated and that can rub people the wrong way and make it seem like you're fake. But Ryan, just be careful what you say because you might have been a caricature of yourself on season 4 All Stars because you were hiding in the background and didn't make any moves at all, and whatnot. Not to say old you was like making moves and wheeling and dealing like that in itself. I feel like you've been more so true to yourself and being yourself on there, but at least Josh is entertaining. Ryan, you haven't really been that entertaining since you've been back on TV. You haven't. So I'll take the entertainment and a little fakeness over just stale and plain Jane, but you're being real. It's television by the end of the day, so maybe he should try and be a caricature of himself, and that'll help him get further. But Josh hasn't made a final like Ryan has, so we'll see. Ryan also says he's seen Paulie's OnlyFans because Ryan pays for it. Now that was a joke, or because Derek pays for it. Now that was a joke. But yes, if you have an OnlyFans, you can just Google the images and they'll pop up because they're always leaked. If you didn't know that. So yeah, there's a lot of cast members that OnlyFans on here. I'm not gonna name them all. There's several of them, I'll say, but Paulie's definitely one of them. Paulie, I mean, go to his Instagram page and you will see. But Paulie owns it. He's not hiding it or denying anything. Like that's who he is, and I respect that. But yes, Ryan was on the first season I watched. We meet him a little bit more in depth. He was on Fresh Meat, the first one. Didn't last very long. I believe he was Melinda's partner. Got out by Wes. Didn't really make an impact. But he did make the final in the island, I believe. And that was his most memorable appearance from what I can recall. Then we meet Theo. Theo just had a kid. He's not with his baby mama. And that gets us into era 4. Shout out to brother Theo. So, era 4, we have Horacio, Jenny, Josh, Casey, Kylan, Michelle, Nerese, Olivia, Paulie, and Theo. Very strong team. Very strong team. I think this team is going to do very well. So, Horacio is from Ride or Dies. Jenny, War of the Worlds 2. Josh, War of the Worlds 1. Casey, Total Madness. Kylan, Battle for a New Champion, which is last season. Michelle, Spies, Lies, and Allies. Horrible name. Nerese, Ride or Dies. Olivia, Ryder Dies, Paulie, Final Reckoning, and Theo, War of the Worlds. And so this era goes from vendettas to battle for a new champion. Now we got some good members on era 4. We're missing some, like era 3 I think is missing Zach. I forgot to mention. I think Zach should have been on this over Tony. Zach should have been on over Tony. But era 4 is missing quite a few people I think that should have been on it. I mean, I think that they're missing Amber B. Amber B should have been on over Michelle or Olivia. I think they don't really have any really new male champions in Era 4. Like, none of the guys have won. The only people who have won a challenge in this whole group is Jenny and Casey. Everyone else's came kind of close. Like, Theo got second place. Turbo should be on this cast. I don't know why Turbo's not on here. He should be on there easily over Josh or Kyland. I mean, who else? A lot of the UK guys that weren't on it, like if Bear didn't get arrested and go to jail, he probably would be on this. If who else? Who else? A lot of the British people, I'm thinking, like Georgia, she would have been amazing on this if she got to continue doing the show. Um, D, who got banned from the show. So like several people who, some are challenges. Rogan's a champion, should have been on this. Like, it just, some of it just doesn't make sense for Era 4 with not having a lot of the big names that have won and done well and made their mark on the show in the seasons 30 through 39. Rogan, D, Georgia, and Turbo are the big ones that kind of hit you, and you could easily replace those for Josh, Kyland, Olivia, and I'll leave Casey on there, but because she won. But Michelle, take them out and put those 4 in. I think I wish D wasn't banned. I think it's dumb that she was banned too. She didn't even say anything problematic in my opinion. Georgia, she was casual. Uh, she was a casualty of warfare when it came to Bear. Turbo, I don't know why Turbo's not on here. They got it out for that man. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, and Rogan, I have no clue. I have no clue why. Maybe they didn't call him. Who knows? But I think they dropped the ball with season 4 quite a bit. Could have had a very stronger team, a very more dynamic team, and more of a team that tells the story of the challenge, because you don't really need Michelle to tell the story of the challenge. You don't need Olivia as of now. I know she's newer to tell the story of the challenge, or Nerese. Nerese, like, she's great eye candy. I love Nerese, beautiful woman, but her and Olivia could have been axed. Paulie, he definitely made his marks. I'll give him that. He's made a final in each of his seasons. Keep him there. But yeah, I definitely think they dropped the ball with season or era 4 per se. But yes, we meet era 4, and Olivia's from Alaska. We know, she said it before. We know Olivia, but has to face the music with Nerese. Yeah, if you didn't watch Battle of the New Champion season 39, her and Nerese, they had a little bit of a squabble per se. That's putting it on light terms, but they're not on the best of terms. But if they want to make this work, they better find the right term to get on. So we'll see how that goes down. That'll be interesting to watch. And yeah, that's pretty much, well, we get a sneak peek of the challenges, and we find out this is when we see CT get carted off at the end of it. I think he might get medically DQ'd. It looked pretty serious. CT's old and he's not in the best shape as of now. So you get an injury and you're on a stretcher, I don't know if you're coming back. You don't get on a stretcher and be like, okay, I'm cool the next day. Nah, that's something like you got to go home, because if you get hurt again, we already flew y'all out to Vietnam and did all this extra stuff. We can't afford to be doing none of this extra health insurance, medical things. So you guys to go. So unfortunately, I that kind of spoiled it for CT. I don't think CT wins just based off the spoiler we saw. Um, and we see Mark. We get so this where we get done introduced to all the people, but then so we get to see them interact a little bit more. Mark says he's a current Boca Raton All-Star champion wrestler. Shout out Mark. If I'm ever in Boca Raton, I'm gonna go check him out. If you wear it, check him out. Let me know how it is. Rachel gives her flowers to Amanda. I love this. Amanda is Miss Popoff, and Rachel, Veronica, and Tina kind of used to be Mrs. Pop-Offs. More so Tina and Veronica. Rachel was kind of the cooler of the heads of the trio. But it's cool to see, like I said, the old school meeting with the newer school. This is the first time they're meeting. Amanda, Ashley, and their and Ashley should have been on this cast too. Amanda, Ashley, and their clique. What's it called? The the Brown ladies, whatever their group. Amanda, Ashley, and their group. I can't remember the name of their group. And the Mean Girls, Tina, Rachel, and Veronica. They're kind of like symmetrical to an extent, you know, and the way that they kind of carried themselves as a group and as ladies more so. Man and Ashley are strong, not take no shit women. Tina, Veronica, and Rachel the same way. They're not gonna take nothing from nobody, and it's great to see them kind of form this little bonds that could maybe help them each out in the game. This is also a time when they're doing this mingling, a time of alliance forming and game playing as well. The game's already started. The game starts before they get here, but this is a very important time. It's good to mingle and meet people and see how the energies are, but it's also an important time to kind of maybe get some things solidified. So is this an alliance that, could help each other, could benefit each party down the road? We'll see. But I like that. I love Amanda. She's one of the more real cast members that we get to see most authentic. She's gonna tell it as it is, and I admire that heavily. She's not gonna just be your friend and you just act slimy and silly, whether that be to her or somebody else. She's gonna take note of that and let you know what's up. You'll know what's up with her. She's not gonna not. You're never gonna know not where you stand. You're never not gonna know where you stand with Amanda. That's what I really like. I need someone to tell me if you don't like me, just tell me, and then we can move our separate ways. We ain't gotta rock together. Don't just be like seeming like you're okay with me, but you're really hating on me and you're not telling me. I can't stand that. So a lot of people operate like that, but Amanda don't. So shout out Amanda. Then TJ shows up. TJ does his, he's in a suit, whatnot. And then he lets them inside the house. Now the house is like this big old castle. Huge. I didn't know Vietnam had castles. And it's pretty big. It's pretty big. I heard through the grapevine now it wasn't the greatest housing conditions and whatnot. That seems to be cap. Maybe someone was a little tipsy when they said that. I ain't gonna say who said it. Y'all should find out for your own self, but it might be a cast member who hasn't popped off, who hasn't showed up yet. But yes, the house is a castle. It's enormous. No bunk beds, and all the banners from every season pop up, as well as memorabilia of the prior seasons with pictures of like DM, Banana's backpack, CT, etc. And that's really dope. I think it's cool that they really put some effort and time into designing this house and making it as epic as season 40 should be. This is not just another season. This is season 40. This could be the last season of y'all show on MTV as we know it. You got to go balls to the wall. You got to use every expense, every dollar to make things how they should be. And I love that. We shout out DM, beautiful soul. She definitely left her mark on the challenge, and all respect and love for her as well. We get a moment of Rachel and Tina reflecting on everything and whatnot as well. You got to see all that in All Stars 4. And then Tori starts going in on Amanda to Horacio. She's already running her mouth about it. She ain't happy. I don't blame Tori. No, Amanda said she ain't trying to be her friend and whatnot. So she's just venting right now. And like she knows she's trying to make amends, but she has her doubts, of course. Amanda says her and Tori will work as a team, but will not get along. I understand that. Yeah, look, you got to work with some people, but you ain't got to be their best friend. And that's just how it is. I'm with you, Amanda, on that because there's some people I got to work with and I can't be their friend. But we got to work together. We got to work together. The cast at the pool party. Everyone's getting butt naked and whatnot. And of course, Johnny Bananas follows. Theo seems to have eyes for Olivia. Be careful. Be careful. And Now it talks about her vapes, which we mentioned earlier. And Amanda and Cara mend fences. Now Amanda and Cara had big blow ups. They were rivals dating back several challenges. More so, uh, fruit becoming more fruitful of their vendetta against each other on Final Reckoning. Amanda apologizes for telling Cara that she wanted her horse to die, and they soon become cordial. I ain't gonna say allies, cordial. And I think that's a great relationship to form. I was waiting for this. Two women that kind of have a lot of similarities are finally seeing eye to eye on the same page, thanks to Paulie. So shout out Cara and Amanda for fixing that. I hope it lasts because I know how Amanda can be. Littlest thing will set her off. And at the end, we see Jordan entering the house. He comes late because he's a professional race car driver now, and he was out racing cars. But now he's back and ready to cause chaos. And Jordan's a big addition to Era 3. Now, my synopsis analysis of the whole entire pre challenge, like the launch special, it was cool. I like the introduction. It's getting us hype and getting us ready for season 40. I think that in order to make the season great, the challenges have to be good, but also we have to have the drama. We have to have the interactions. That will make or break this season. That will determine if the season's a flop or a success, and if there's a season 41. So there's a lot riding on the season. I like I want Darrell to do well. I want Nerese to do well. I want Corey to do well. I want Leroy to do well. I want Cara Maria to do well. Paulie, Rachel, Tina. Those are kind of my people I want to do really well. Yeah, those are my peoples, and Amanda. But let me know your thoughts. What did you think of the launch special and how it went down? I didn't mind it. I'd give it about a 7.5, 8. They did what they could. And I'm excited for next week. The season's officially starting. We get a 2 week, uh, 2 week premiere. I guess they call it. Yeah, 2 week premiere of episode 1. I don't know, but yeah. So next week we will be back. We will probably live stream after the episode's over, and we'll try and get into the rhythm of that. And yeah, I'm excited, y'all. So let me know what you think, and we in for a ride. So till next time, y'all. Peace, blessings, deuces, and have a great rest of